Some things never change. Traffic in Kabul still a mess. Other things do, and they will under Taliban rule. Whether it's the taxi drivers, the market traders, the traffic police, or their mothers, sisters and daughters, everyone is wondering the same thing. What now?
The future is uncertain for the millions living in Afghanistan under Taliban rule. More than a third of the population lives on less than $2 a day. For those who do have access to money, there are hours-long wait times at banks with strict limits on cash withdrawals, just as the currency is sinking and inflation is rising. Taliban officials say a new Afghan government could be announced in the coming days, something they say will help improve the situation. But drought and a lack of outside aid are compounding problems. And there are growing fears for women and girls.
This was our nightmare, that Taliban will come and capture all the Afghanistan in just a few days.
A former player for Afghanistan's women's national soccer team who fled to France is among those doubting attempts by the Taliban to portray themselves as willing to allow more freedoms for women than before, now that they're back in power. The last time the Taliban ran Afghanistan, women were barred from taking part in sport or from working outside the home and had to cover themselves from head to toe in public.
There is no future for women in Afghanistan for now, for many years ago. So all the things become a zero. Everything destroyed for future. With Taliban, there is no future.
In Kandahar, the spiritual home of the Taliban, there appeared not a hint of apprehension, as crowds and fighters celebrated their victory with the weapons that brought it to them. But elsewhere, Taliban commanders are now getting to grips with the job of governing. The new mayor of Mazar-e-Sharif warned that the hardline group would not soften.
There's no difference between the previous government and our government now. About the women, it's the same Islamic rules and way. They should wear the hijab. They can continue their education, they can go to work. This is our message to all the women.
In Kabul, the shifting power has deepened an economic tailspin. Long lineups at ATMs, depreciating currency, rising food prices, with many salaries still unpaid. Afghans already impoverished. The U.S. government had poured $500 million in aid into the country last year alone.
In Afghanistan,
the UN's Babar Baloch says a humanitarian crisis looms.
This is not the time for the world to walk away from Afghanistan. Our engagement will be there with the Afghan people, and we hope that they get the protection that they deserve, and also that the world will not abandon them.
2 days after the United States withdrew its last troops from Afghanistan, the new Taliban rulers are struggling to get the country fully functioning again. Shuttered banks, lack of enough food, and continued instability all plague the nation. Meantime, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said the State Department would take the lead in securing the exit of the Americans who are left there, as well as thousands of Afghan allies. Amna Nawaz reports.
On the streets of Kabul, countless vendors are out to sell, but no one is buying. In Afghanistan's first days without foreign forces, the cost of basic goods is swelling, the national currency is plummeting, and the economy is at a standstill. And it's now the Taliban's job to fix it. Elsewhere in the capital, bank lines stretch down the block.
All prices have risen and we cannot buy anything, and people have a big economic problem because the banks are closed and the market conditions are not good. There are no job opportunities and no one can afford to buy anything.
We don't want a foreign country to be in our homeland, he says, but we need bread and water.